Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's me, and I'm back for well, yeah. It's more of a just of a chat type of video. Of course, TFNation related, and yeah, it's basically this video is me talking about how special it is. I've spoken about how special TFN is many times over the past how many years over the years. But there comes a point when things happen in the real world. Unfortunate things, sad things. People pass away. Talents that we've had at past TFNs have passed away, and looking back of what makes TFN so special is those instances, either instances or those moments or times when we have all spent time with the talent, with the special guests of honour, voice actors, comic book artists, writers, no matter who they are, anyone that's there as a guest. And we've spent time with them and, in the bar or what have you, or at breakfast, whatever. They're. This is the thing, is how, TFN is one of those very rare convention experiences that you don't really see very much of, where the convention is held right where the guests are staying. Obviously with TFN, it's all, the guests are put up in the Hilton, and TFNation is held, is based at the Hilton as well. So they're all under one roof. The guests can also stay at the same hotel, and many do, and of course, some people stay at other hotels very, very close by as well. But the facts I'm trying to come over with is that it's a very contained sort of experience. Because a lot of conventions, obviously, they are usually like a lot of conventions. Say the Birmingham NEC, for instance, it's a exhibition centre, convention centre. Um, yeah, don't get me wrong. I've been to the NEC itself for a few different things over the years. It's a great thing. Massive rooms that they can open up, and they can situate pretty much anything really. Um, they are good, but the fact is, what I'm trying to say is when you go to things like MCM Comic Con, for instance, MCM Birmingham Comic Con, or anything where there any sort of convention, London Comic Con, whatever it could be, those events are just a mass thing. Okay, they're a mass thing. The guests are put up in whatever hotel, nobody knows. Obviously, one that's relatively low, close by, I would assume, but that isn't really mentioned. And you don't get. Yes, okay, they are great ways to meet your idols. They're great ways to meet the guests. But you only get maybe a max of 5 minutes each per person because of the queue. You go, you say what you want to say, you take a picture with them, or pay for a picture, or pay for an autograph, all that kind of thing, which is similar to TFN. Sometimes, what I mean is, so with TFN, you go to meet them, you get an autograph, you get a photo, or get something signed. That you can do that as well at TFN, of course. But what I mean is, at like those bigger conventions like MCM Comic Con, London Comic Con, what have you, they're very much kind of like a conveyor belt of people. And it's just like you go up, hand over what you want to get signed, or say what you want to say, and maybe have a photograph taken or get something signed or whatever. And then you move along, that's it, done. And the next person, then the next person. And even though it's still pretty cool to finally meet that person, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to put a negative slight on things, but you know, but I'm just saying that with those conventions, it's literally just a conveyor belt of people. And the difference is with TFNation, and you don't get very many conventions out there that are like them, and that's what makes them unique. That's what makes TFNation unique, is that you basically have this. It's what makes them very unique is that everything's self-contained. Everything is contained within that hotel, guests as well as attendees and the people that run the convention, of course. And everyone's just right there, right in that hotel. And because of that, you get very, very cool experiences where the guests will quite happily come down to the bar, will mingle. Um, they bring their wives sometimes, or they bring their kids. You know, they come down maybe for like a family holiday. They make like a holiday experience. There has been times where some guests of honor, like voice actors, and that because they're coming from so far away, they sometimes come a bit earlier, or they stay a bit longer after the convention for a little vacation or something. There has been times that has happened. So they use TFN as a way to kind of like, they do the convention, of course, and then they kind of do their own personal thing and stay for a bit longer. But the fact, it's just with TFNation, you get these really awesome instances or these really great times or moments that you can treasure more by actually spending time with them outside of the convention times. So you could, there has been there has been some guests that haven't mingled as much as others, but yeah, those I believe those people were actually working. There was obviously Steve Bloom. Even though I love Steve Bloom, and he's the type of person that would quite happily mingle with people if he wasn't working. But obviously, when obviously this was an auto assembly, not TFNation, but when he came when Steve Bloom came to the auto assembly, that I was over the moon. I was like, yes, I'm finally going to meet one of my idols from childhood. And he came, he did the convention. He was awesome, but then you never really saw him at all. I literally saw him about 3 times, actually, just walking from wherever back to his hotel room and back again. I only saw him walking, in between wherever he's going, a couple times. But obviously, he was trying to find studio space or working from his hotel room in between the programming and scheduling of the convention. So, unfortunately, he was working. So, okay, I can completely understand that. He's still a very much an active working voice actor. But there has been some times but at the end of the day, it comes down to personal preference. Sometimes, they see it as it's a job, because obviously conventions are, of course, a job. It's how they make their living as well as actually being an actor. So a lot of these people come to conventions, they do what they need to do, they do the panels, they do this, they sign their autographs, and a lot of the time they maybe do their own thing. They might maybe go for a little walk around Birmingham or wherever the convention is held at, and they'll go for a little walk around. They maybe try and get acquainted with England because, they maybe haven't ever been to England before and all this kind of thing. So they might make a bit of an experience out of it for themselves. So, they'll do their own thing. So they probably don't really mingle as much, or they maybe don't drink alcohol and things like this, So they probably do that kind of thing. It's all personal preference with the voice acting talent and what have you. But there has been times where I've had some absolutely at TFNation, I've had some incredible moments with guests. And, I'm just a simple person I'm quite a simple person. Um, but no, I'm just somebody that makes videos on YouTube. Talks about what I want to talk about. Helps out TFN when I can, when it comes around to it, and all that kind of thing. I make vlog video vlog. I make vlogs. There we go, and things like that. I know. I'm just a very average YouTuber. But saying that, there's been some times where I've had, I got shouted out. One of the voice actors. Oh, who was it? Oh man, I forgot his name. That's not good. That's not good. I forgot his name. My mind's like a bloody sieve at the moment. Um. God damn it. I found it now. Yeah, Andre Sagaluza. When he came to TFNation, I believe it was a was it? Yes, it was. When he came, um, yeah, I was just minding my own business. I've never met Andre Sagalusa before. Uh, I've never met him previous to that. I didn't really know much of him as an actor, except for him obviously being the voice of Sideswipe in the live-action film. I believe it was either Revenge of the Fallen or Dark of the Moon, one of the two. Yeah, Dark of the Moon, I think. Well, anyway, so he was the voice of live-action Sideswipe, or one version of it, because he got replaced. A different voice actor took over the role for another film. But anyway, so yeah, Andre Sagalusa, was voice of Sideswipe from one of the live-action films, anyway, and a bunch of other stuff that I found out that he's done as well that I'm aware of. But anyway, so yeah, I was basically just minding my own business, talking to people as you do in the bar, and he approaches me out of nowhere, and he goes, "You're Nosy, right?" And I went, "I am." And I said, "I know you off YouTube. I love your videos." And I was looking around behind his back, thinking, as somebody for a joke told him to do this. Kind of one of those things, because that's what people, sometimes things get a little bit wild at TFNation. People have, there's a big mix of personalities and, people having a good time, maybe making, I don't know, pranks. Maybe some people doing pranks on each other and making people do stuff and, all that kind of thing. It's one of those environments sometimes where, things do happen. But no, there was nobody turning around, there was nobody sniggering, nobody going, he thinks he's famous. But no, I was like, my God, a voice actor that I've never met before actually has watched some of my videos and likes my videos. And he has come up to me, even though he's one of the guests of honour, but he's come up to me, shook my hand, and wanted to speak to me directly. That was a very out-of-body experience for me, because I've never had that done. I've never had that before. I've never had somebody do that. And also, he then says to me, he says, "Come by my table tomorrow, because I've got a very special message just for you." And I went, this was Andre, of course. And I went, okay, I'll come by tomorrow. This was obviously the Saturday evening, so when this happened. Excuse me. So anyway, so I get up the next day, do what I needed to do, and did what I needed to do and all that. And then I went to see him on the Sunday. I went to his table, and he went, he saw me, and he went, "Oh, John," and he gave me a signed autograph. And he said, no, don't worry about the charge. I assume that was the case. I mean, obviously, I would have very happily paid him money anyways, because obviously he's a working actor. But he actually gave me a free autograph, and everything, and took a picture with him, and then he basically then whispered in my ear, "Oh, by the way, Greg Berger says hi." So this was in relation to a video comment. To a video. No, it was in relation to something I mentioned in a video previous to going to that one where Andre was that year. So previous to that year, that TFNation, I made a video talking about. I think it was. Oh yeah, it was answering a question of like regrets. Do I have any regrets for the upcoming convention? So it was one of those videos doing the rounds, and it was basically, do you have any regrets? What do you have any regrets, basically? And basically, I did a response video to that, and I mentioned about when I first met Greg Berger, which was back in 2011, I believe, because he came back again, I think, in 2011, which was again an auto assembly. And so I went met him for the first time. I was pretty nervous back then. I was really nervous meeting the guests, and I did the thing that is kind of frowned upon, mostly because of other people, and I had way too much stuff to get signed. Basically, I didn't realise I'd brought as much as I did, but I had loads of stuff. And of course, it's only supposed to be like a maximum of about three things at a time. So you'd have so much signed, a couple things signed, and then if you want to queue up again, then you could get some more signed. You take it in turns to make it fairer for other people. But obviously, I know that now. But obviously, back then, I was still relatively new to the whole convention scene, so I didn't really understand it. And of course, I think Greg noticed how much stuff I brought, and he basically just politely said to me, "Do you mind leaving some of that so other people have a chance and all that thing?" And I felt bad for the people behind me, and I felt bad for him because obviously he's had to say that. And I thought, right, okay, well, it was a lesson learned, and I've never done that ever since that year. Excuse me, my nose. Ever since that happened, I've never done that again. I've always put everyone else that are queuing for the same thing. If I have something on me that I want to get signed, it's only usually one thing and one thing only. But I don't really do signatures anymore. I usually get a photograph done with them. I take a photo with them. Or if I do have something specific, then I will get it signed as well. But usually I just meet them, take a picture with them, shake the hand or whatever, and say hello, and that's basically what I do. But anyway, so basically that's what Andre was saying to me about Andre Segaluzo, basically saying, "I've got a message for you." Basically, Greg had somehow, I don't know how, but I got a comment under my video saying it was from Greg Berger. And I can't remember exactly what the comment said, but there was a comment from a Greg Berger, and I thought, okay, this might be a bogus thing, might be somebody pretending to be Greg, and I wasn't too sure. And basically, so when I said that thing about regrets from past conventions and this, that, and the other, Greg had actually seen that, and I think must have remembered that happening. And so he commented, and he actually said that was actually me. That was actually him commenting. It wasn't a someone impersonating him or anything like that. And he actually asked Andre to pass on a message to me to say that was Greg Berger. That actually was Greg Berger who commented on my video, and he basically just said to don't worry about it. One of those things. So Greg Berger's going to be at TFN this year, 2024. So it'd be interesting to see if he recognises me, or there's going to be. I'm not gonna go there just to. I don't want to sound like a big head. That is not my intention. If he doesn't recognise me, I mean, he's a busy man, but he's a busy man, and I'm not going to be one of those annoying people that goes up to me, "Oh, do you recognise me? Hello," and he just gets real weird and everything, But no, I'm not going to be that person. I'm just gonna go along, and obviously I'm gonna go and meet Greg, of course, and get a picture with him, but as usual. Um, Excuse me, I apologise about my nose. I don't know what's going on. Bloody bunged up. But anyway, so yeah, obviously Greg Berger's going to be at TFN this year, so I'm very much looking forward to meeting him again. And even though he's been a fair few times over the years, and obviously David Kay as well, I'm very much looking forward to meeting him again because I've met him once before. I mean, it once or twice, I can't remember now. But no, he. So yeah, but yeah. So the point of this video is, excuse me. The point of this video is to basically just to say to people, and for other people to try and think about some great memories that they have in their mind. If people want to do a response to this, you're more than welcome. You don't have to. You're not obliged to. But basically, the whole idea of this video is thinking back on memories, moments or instances spent with the special guests of honor, stories you can remember from conversations you've had with them. Obviously, there's also been, like I said at the beginning of this video, there's been some points where some special guests of honor have sadly passed away. One of those individuals, very special individuals, was Mr. Peter Spellos, who was he was an absolute inspiration. He really was. He was an incredibly special person. I don't know what more I can really say about Peter. He was just such a beautiful person, inside and out. He was like the father to all of us. He was like the other father. He was like the convention father. He just had that essence about him. He was such a warm person. Everybody just gravitated towards him whenever he was at TFNations or auto assemblies or whatever. And everyone just basically just gravitated towards him. And it was so difficult to get anywhere near him because that's how special of a person he was. And when he sadly, became ill and sadly passed away, a huge part of all of us from TFN just seemed to leave us as well. And that's what makes TFN so special, is spending moments with the guests of honor, and you just don't know what's around the corner. And you have memories to cherish because of it, and that's what makes it so special. So, yeah, and then obviously I have to mention about, oh no, I'm not going to mention too much. I don't want to make this too long and too yammery. But the point of it is to just think about anybody that watches this. You're more than welcome to make a response to. But it's about the whole idea is about just remembering about past memories, conversations with special guests of honor or with friends or what have you. Just reminiscing about the past, about past TFNs. What makes TFN so special for you, and what makes it as unique as it is as a convention? Because you don't get many convention experiences that give you an experience like TFN does. You have the typical convention thing. You have like a dealer space, dealer room. You can buy your toys, all that kind of stuff. You can buy merch and all that. You have all that stuff. But then when it comes to the guests, yes, you have the convention times. You can go and queue up as you do, as you would at any convention. Go and queue up. But yeah, and all that, and meet the guests, get something signed, get a photo with them, or whatever you. So you can do that. But it's it's the moments outside of the convention, in the bar, in the hotel, in the bar, or at breakfast. It's moments like that where there has been instances where we have been joined by, like, just like randomly, just maybe sat having your breakfast, and a voice actor's come up to me or whoever I'm with and said, "May I join you?" And by all means, there's been times where that's happened, and it's absolutely just, it's so awesome, and you don't get that very often unless you are very close to the voice acting talent. Say if you're related to them, or say if you're a relation that has gone to the convention with them, or if you're a part of the convention, the helpers or the volunteers that basically help the guest get food and all this, that, and the other. When there's usually like a guest, like a handler or whatever you want to call them, basically an assistant, basically, that the convention provides. I don't know, for like maybe a bit of security or just to help them get from where they need to be to a panel or whatever. They basically help them to sort it all out and everything and get where they need to be. So, if unless you're somebody either like that, or you actually maybe are a relation to the guest, or you know them, or a close friend or something, then it will be a different experience. A convention, it will be a different experience for you. But for the general public, that are the general public and the people attending, the normal attendees that have bought their ticket for a weekend at a convention, for the most part, they're not going to have that same experience as someone that is close to them would. It's going to be literally just a conveyor belt of people, a never ending queue for less than 5 minutes in their presence, and then that's it. So you don't get that. There has been times where that has happened at TFN, like I said, but for the most part, it is pretty rare that does happen. And everyone is very approachable and very kind and very humble. And that's what makes TFN so special. But anyway, so it's a bit of a yammery video today, but I wanted to talk about what makes TFN so special and reminiscing of past events and some great people that we've sadly lost over the years as well. But thank you for watching, and we are not far away from TFN 2024. Very much looking forward to it. Take care. Bye bye.